What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be wrapping up today's trading session at $3,100 green on the day. So it was really an awesome trading day. I'm super happy with the way today panned out. In this video, you're going to witness live trades on XBIO, CNET, CRIS, and NTEC. So if you've been interested or curious as to what's involved when day trading, this is going to be a fantastic video for you guys to witness and watch all these trades happen in real time as I explain what we're doing and why we're doing it. So in this video, you're going to see the live trades of all the transactions I pretty much made today while trading. And all I ask is that you hit the thumbs up button, share the video, and comment, as that's going to help the YouTube algorithm significantly promote this video. So with that being said, let's stay tuned and see the live trades coming up. All right, guys, so right here, I'm looking at the stock NTEC. This audio is not actually from the time of me making this trade. I'm actually watching over the video and then recording audio so that I can have it in the final cut. I forgot to have my mic unmuted at the time of this trade. So with NTEC, you're going to see the prices going up towards 825, and I'm debating whether or not I want to go short right now. I have resistance marks starting at 825 and going up to, 888. So pretty much anything, from 825 to 888, I was willing to be bearish on. And I also was even considering the price could go all the way as high as $10 pre-market. And I still would have been willing to short the stock. So you're going to see here shortly that I start entering into a position short on NTEC. I figured that we would get a rejection here in this $8.25 price point. So here you'll see I'm zooming in, get a better feel for it. Now I'm going down towards my level 2. I just entered 1,000 shares short on NTEC. I got a fill at 790. Would have been better if I entered at 825, but I was slightly hesitant because it had been moving so strong already. I'm now currently short 2,000 shares. All right, you're going to see I go up to even 4,000 shares short here in just a second. So you can see now I tried to add another 1,000 shares short. They did not give me the fill all the way up there at the 8.50 mark. I'm still waiting to get filled. They won't fill me that 1,000 share position. All right, now I get filled. Now I'm in 3,154 shares short with an average price of 808. And I think we pushed that all the way up to 1,000, another 1,000. So now I'm in short 4,154 shares short at $8.15 as my average. So anything below 815 is green. Shortly, you're going to see these candles drop out, and I actually go to cover some of those shares as the trade went green. Now, the reason I covered a lot of those shares as we drop down, and you'll see in a second, so the reason I'm covering shares in this drop is to A, lock in a little bit of money on the trade, but B, I kind of thought we would still see the move on NTEC potentially up to 930 as high as $10. So when we got this pullback here and I go green, I take off about 2,000 shares so that way I could lock in money and I could decrease my position size in case we in fact squeezed all the way up to that $9.27 mark or $10, and then I could readjust and average in more shares. So you'll see candles going to start coming down here in a second, and I go to close so that way I could lock in money, decrease my position size. If in the event the stock still wanted to go to $10, I would take less of a loss all the way up to $10 on 2,000 shares than I would 4,000 shares. So it was a way of me locking in money and managing the risk on the trade with the potential of it going higher. So you'll see now that the position's starting to go green. We're dropping out a little bit. There wasn't a monster sell move so far. And if I would have averaged in even better, my average would have been more towards 870, and I already would have been in on a big win to begin with. So it should be this candle or maybe the next one that kind of comes down. I think I get to about a 600 green, 800 green, 1,000. And you'll see that I try to start taking some off and it doesn't work out very well. I try to take some off by the thousands and it just wasn't easy to get those shares out with the spread pre-market. So you can see I just decreased down to 3,000. So I took 1,000 off. Ready? And then I go to take off another 1,000 as the candle kind of squeezes back up a bit. So I took off another 1,000. So I'm into 2,500 now. And this was in case the stock still wanted to go higher. And I was willing to risk all the way up to that $10 mark with the 2,500 shares. Because if it went to, say, 10 bucks, I would be negative, probably more than 2,500, maybe 3 to 4,000. And then I was going to average in another short of probably 10 to 15,000 shares if it went to the $10 price. I was comfortable going with, maybe 10, 15,000 shares if it was all the way up at that $10 price point. It never ends up getting there. We end up fading out from here as well. So right now in this move that you're seeing with NTEC, if you're going for more of a shorter duration trade, then we would essentially be looking to get it down towards that $7.86 price, which is that like little dotted white line that we're going towards. So that little diagonal dotted white line would be sort of that first target down in the short. And then below that is where more of the selling pressure would kick in. But if you're going for more of a scalp trade, your target would be kind of that little dotted line. And then the bigger trade would be going for the 730 level, which is that kind of that orange line, priced at about $7.30. You'll see I opened up a screen on the right. The reason I opened up the screen on the right was to show you the resistance that I was shorting off of at the 870 price. You see that darker red line, and then you see the dotted or dashed red line. The dashed red line is my own drawing tool that I placed on the chart over top of that longer term level. So that's what I was trying to show you there, is that we had long-term trending resistance in that price. And I believe I even bring up the long-term chart again to show you another resistance point as well. So if you look at the screen, you're going to see that this candle is just slightly sitting over that diagonal trend line. And as soon as we start to come through that, that's where the selling pressure kind of kicks in. And if you look, right, look at the volume. Look at that volume. You can see all that red selling volume in there. Not the first volume, but the second one on the bottom with the green and red boxes in there. So I just zoomed in. So the recording had actually stopped, and you can see the price drop down to that yellow line. I ended up covering more shares at that point. And then from this point forward, really the stock just kind of ends up continuing to fade out pre-market. Wow, that would have been a beautiful one. So easy. I would like to add more even on this NTEC stock, but personally, I wanted it higher. I mean, it already made a great move. We hit resistance here at 820. I really wanted to see it run all the way up into 10. and even to an $11. If it ran up there, I was literally like told myself I'm going 10, 15,000 shares short if it reached that high, but it didn't. So we're just in a smaller position, but that's okay because still making money and that's good. Kind of surprised that Chris moved again today, even after doing a offering yesterday and after hours trading. But yeah, somehow, some way, NTEC ends up going all the way to 10 to 11. I'm going to be big time short on the stock up there, like big. All right. Let me just run through these scanners really quick. I haven't had much time to do that since I sat down. I was pretty much focused on NTEC this morning. Yeah, I looked at I see CNET. I feel like CNET's going to keep dropping overall pre-market. Yeah, they're cost $3.60 a share. Pretty sure that's going to end up fading out some. It might not drop super fast or easy, but I do think, yeah, overall you should see that continue to come down. I think I'm just going to let these shares just kind of go with NTEC for now. Yeah, I seen Fran. I wanted to go short Fran. I probably would have started shorting Fran already. So I'm assuming Fran's getting ready to pull down. So there's that. Yeah, but I couldn't get any shares on it. But if you can, if you have a broker that allows you to short Fran, it's a great idea to do that. Not a bad idea. I mean, honestly, like this morning, I got up at about 7:20, slept in a little bit, and then I clicked the computer on. I think NTEC was like right here when I finally got everything, got all my computers online and running. I think NTC was right here. I'm like, okay, so I just waited for it to go up to this price, and I started shorting. So I was actually short 4,000 here, and then I covered a little bit in this drop, and then I held the rest. But I started short 4,000 in case this was the top, and it kind of went right away. But it was really me wanting to see the price all the way up to here, and I was going to short up to like 10, 15,000 here. But yeah, I just started entering short on these prices right here with 4,000. Covered some into this first kind of pullback because I kind of thought that it was going to go higher. After I entered short and it kind of came down, I saw it fight a little bit. I'm like, you know what? This might move higher. So I reduced from 4,000 to like 2,500 because I was comfortable with 2,500 if it squeezed up all the way to 10. From like 870 to 10, I was like, okay, that's fine. If it goes all the way up to 10, I'll go down almost $3,000. I'm fine with that because then I'll enter short 10, 15,000 up there. And then that's going to bring my average basically to that point. And as soon as we get a down drop, I'll go right back to positive. So I took a size that was big enough to create a good win, but I was also comfortable with if we went all the way to 10 to re-leverage up at the 10 price. So I was short 4,000, took off like 2 because I thought it might go higher there in the immediate and I would protect myself. Ended up not and then fading out. So it's like, yeah, trading, right? So I'm just gonna, so yeah, I mean, I'm usually up at like, you know, I usually get up in the morning at like 6:45. Some mornings 6 if the workload's more, but I mean, yeah, most of the trades that have happened, I would say around 7 o'clock. I usually am not making trades around 6 or anything like that. Nice fade from NTEC, up $1,000. Very nice. Now all I have to do is just not fat finger anything, and I should be fine. Chris to the 9. So let's see if Chris. What? Since when is Chris easy to borrow? I didn't see this yesterday. Or was I not looking? Was I not paying attention? But I don't remember Chris being shortable yesterday on Lightspeed, but it is today. It is today. Yeah, that's really interesting because I did not not see that. If you look at Fran went from 636 now down at 515, so it's already a $1 short from the top of that move. We're suggesting being short, but I couldn't, unfortunately, so I'm not getting a piece of it. This Chris though, they had the direct offering yesterday. Let's see what it was. I mean, they definitely had it. Let's see. Chris, do sell common shares via public offering, and it tanks, and now we're getting held back up. So, portion of me does feel like Chris will be more of a short move today, or it's just not going to be. Well, it had an explosive long out of the gates and it consolidated for most of the day. Then it did an after hours breakout and pulled back. Now we're kind of up. I'll follow it, but I mean, yesterday I didn't expect we'd have such a just gigantic rip right out of the gates without somewhat of a significant pullback, and we hardly even got one, and it just went. If FRAN falls all the way down to $4.12 or like $4.13, there's a pretty low. There should be somewhat of a low risk dip long there. I think we could probably bounce the stock at that price. Yes, we are, sir. Yes, we are, Semper. Starting with a good move today. That's what we like to see. Making back the loss from yesterday. Pretty much. Not quite, but pretty much. So yeah, like I said, if FRAN goes down to the price of 413, I'm gonna watch it. Pre-market, we might do a little bounce trade there. It would work. It will work better if Fran just keeps going down. When I say down, I mean it just pretty much just keeps going kind of straight down for us. And then I might also, I probably am. Oh, not Chris. Kind of missed that. I was gonna add a little more short on. I guess I still am. Yeah, added up to 500 shares there after we had that little green candle pop up. That's like I mean, we'll see. I mean, that was a pretty harsh pullback. It's 8 o'clock. Are we really going to bounce all the way back up on NTEC and then go through highs? I think that would be pretty hard to do. So what, maybe a bounce back up to 781 and then we reject and keep coming down. FRAN is at 480. The bounce spot is now potentially the $4.27 mark. Yeah, there's the candle down, sucker. Knew it was going to happen. Knew it. Let's go. But still really haven't even cracked 1,000, so. Fran, not quite there. It's still at like the 490s. Again, like I said, you need it really down at the 428. And I think there would be a little long pop you could probably do. But again, you'd really want to be taking the entries. Like now it's at 436, no longer the 428s. Bounce spot is 436. Our Apple swing trade's in the green, not by a crazy amount, but we are green on the Apple swing trade still. We're still green on the MU swing trade. So still an MU short. It's kind of just sitting, doing like the sideways consolidation, and still an Apple long. So those are the only two swing. Oh, and PayPal. PayPal, we're still in just 10 shares, so still green on that position. So still got 3 ongoing swing trades for the time being. Apple seems like it just keeps inching higher, like it's very close to kind of picking up in steam. So hopefully we can get that today or tomorrow. Fran, the $4.40 price would be a potential entry. Again, it was a straight shot up. So it's still susceptible to going through the 440 price, but let me pull it up. If there's going to be a bounce, there's a good chance that traders are going to try and start it here at 446. That's the first potential one. It's stronger. The lower it goes, the bounce can be stronger. But this is typically a first spot where people would consider starting. So we'll see when it gets there if we have any sort of buying that occurs. Man, I would have loved to have been short. I would be short this whole move. So I'm just really would be a counter trend trade now. So there's 440. Something doesn't give me the good feeling of longing this yet. So you can see we tagged 445 there. We're up to 450, so it's already 5 cents up from that. It's still getting held down pretty well. Yeah, I'm going to pass on that. It just looks a little too heavy. And there might be a little pop, but no, we're just going to hold off on that for now. It'll just crept to the $1,000 mark for the day as NTEC continues to fade down. Still got the 500 shares on. You went short on plug today. I wouldn't necessarily be totally short bias it, but you did. I mean, if you started short, you started on the 4-hour 1 deviation mark, so you might get a slight pullback on the day. But overall, I'm not a big fan of the short there on plug. You just kind of went through a pullback and consolidation. You just broke up. So it does seem, more likely that momentum would be on the upside for plug than the downside for right now. Now that is a pretty strong squeeze and hold from NTEC. So there goes Fran continuing to break down. All right. Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to be doing a whole lot for right now with this NTEC. It's either goes higher and I'll add more short at some point, or it just continues to break down or stays sideways till market open. But I don't really think I care to do a whole lot with that. Or if I really think it's going to break out, then what I'll probably do is just cover the short and then look for a re-entry somewhere else. See what Chris is up to. I mean, Chris did in fact break out. NTEC, on the other hand, does arguably look a little heavy. I mean, there was quite a bit of selling in this kind of pop move, which makes me kind of fearful for the longs that this is going to kind of break out of this formation and just kind of plow down. Yeah, I mean, Fran would have been awesome to be short by Asana. I mean, they had no shares available pre-market, and I mean, a lot of times that's kind of how it happens. Some of those best ones, it would be the easiest to short, you just can't get any shares for. So started trying to cover some shares onto NTEC before it popped there, but then as soon as I hit buy, they ended up squeezing the price up, unfortunately. Got a lot of buyers that just came in there on NTEC. So covered most of it. That way I can at least keep a win on the day if this does do something crazy. So gave back about $500 on the short so far, which does suck, but. So 557. Yeah, it's annoying how that happens where you just can't get the shares. There's some more sellers coming back in on NTEC there. Yeah, so with Chris yesterday, I mean, that's just a situation when you have to look at the stock and go, yeah, this has some strength. Probably not the one to short. And the reason I say that is because if you looked at the chart yesterday, that was previous price action resistance. The stock was already over that by the time the bell opened. So we had already surpassed deviation resistance, price action resistance. The stock was moving strong pre-market. There was no one left to really be selling it from the past to hold it down below previous prices. So the stock just had momentum. So that's why I was like, I'm not going to be short that, or well, I didn't even know I could be, to be honest. I don't think I was able to. So I decided to not be because we had already traded well over that previous resistance from the past. Bummer. NTEC back down. Should have known better. ONCT for continuation. It is actually, yeah, it does kind of have the setup and the feel for continuation, but you're also at your 4-hour trending resistance, which is at about 530, 531 area. Yeah, so if for something tells me, yeah, this could have some continuation, but at the same time, the move already started at your move started at 240. You're now at 5, so you're definitely, it's already increased 100%. So you're not first, you're definitely late, and you're right on resistance. So you essentially would need resistance to break for the continuation to happen, which could be a little challenging. So I wouldn't particularly be extremely long biased myself, given where it's at. Yeah, I'm still caught up on this NTEC because I keep looking at thinking, is it going to have another down leg, which it kind of feels like it does, and I kind of want to short it. But obviously I have a little hesitation right now. Yeah, so you're saying ONCT if it breaks over 830. Yeah, yeah, if it breaks over 823, then yeah, it would have a lot of room to run. But you have resistance at 540 that it would have to break before it could even get to 820. And then since this would be a first attempt move, it would most likely not break 820 to begin with because it's a first attempt move. So I just wouldn't bank on it even going. Yeah, I wouldn't bank on it breaking 820 resistance, at least on the first attempt. So maybe a move to it, then it falls down, and then it could go. But that would be asking a lot of that stock for right now. Good morning, Eve. Well, no, I mean, if you see 820 as a resistance and we're not there, this would be the first attempt since resistance has been put in. Yeah, I mean, the time frame's all the same, right? If last year we went to $8 and now this year in 2019 we went to $8 and in 2020 we're coming back to $8, that would be the first attempt since the last time we went to $8. So if it went to $8 last week, dropped, and then 2 weeks passed, now we're going up to 8, that would be the first attempt since we went to $8, right? So it's the first time the price returns back to a price level in which it had previously stopped at. All right, guys, as usual, I'm going to grab Brandon on and we're going to get rocking and rolling. I'll see everybody back here in a short little bit once I get done putting out a little YouTube video. I'll catch everybody back here in just a sec. Yeah, still in the short on NTEC. We're going to be looking for it to go down to 715. So pretty much what I ended up doing was, when I had gotten off and went on to YouTube, I'm like, it looks like this is going to kind of break down. So I started entering short here in this candle and caught a little bit of that drop, covered most of it, and then just left the rest on for the fade. And I was anticipating we would get pretty close, if not right back down to $6.18. So just going to be holding for the move there. Yeah, XBIO shorts were gone super fast. I mean, that's what happens when those stocks blow up. Think about it, right? When they blow up like that, we all know they're going to pull back. So we all rush to find shares to short. First ones there get, early bird gets the worm. Chris for a swing short. I could probably get behind a swing short with Chris. I think that, yeah, it's still going to come down like most of them will. I will tell you though, I'm confused though on Chris. I'm confused, very, very positive. I'm confused on this. I don't quite understand the movement because we go through an offering, it crashes, then it doesn't tank out today, then it holds up, then it squeezes again. So it's like, it's not, to me, it's a little tricky to judge it. So if I were to trade this, I would probably trade with smaller size just because I don't understand it as much, and be a little hesitant most likely. Scott, you'd have to join TD Ameritrade's hard to borrow program, which means you'll have to have a minimum account of 100 grand. And then you'll have to request to join, and then they'll approve your account, and then you're able. So you can, but you just have to go through their process first versus just getting a different broker. I mean, yeah, I could come during power hour. Sure. Obviously I could do that. It takes a lot of time, and yeah, it takes time, but that there is, to me, I mean, there's fun. It's always good to trade. Always good to trade if there's positions and things to be taken. But like, for example, like today, making $2,600 before the market even opens. Why would I want to stick around all day long to potentially lose that just to maybe find some trades later in the afternoon, right? So market is normally the best with the most opportunity in the morning. There's still opportunity in the afternoon, but if you can successfully do your job correctly and make money, that is the main goal of trading, right? So to trade during power hour, there's almost no point. If you've done your job correctly, right? If you haven't traded all day and you're like, I kind of want to make a buck here, then yeah, I could see it. But generally, the rule of thumb is to try to be done in the morning, where the best volatility is at. Is there a different chat room? Yeah, Kevin, there's a different chat room besides Zoom. It's on Discord. If you go to boilerroomtrading.com, log into your course, one of the sections in your course curriculum will say enter chat room. Just follow that. There'll be a link in there. There's always a link in there. So if somehow you ever get kicked out of the chat room, don't know where to get the link, just make sure to go to boilerroomtrading.com, log into your course account. Everything you ever need is always going to be in one of your course accounts that you've joined into. Okay. All right, so yep, still in that short with NTEC. I would like to see that again. Like I said, at least down to that 620 mark would be nice. That would be great. But we'll probably start to cover that one if we drop out more towards 620. Again, that target down to 620. Looks like XBIO is starting to kind of push up a little bit, starting to hit the high A scanner now. Oh, I just bought GLSI on accident. Don't do any fat fingers today, bud. No. We don't want to do that. Almost did it again. Just lost 144 bucks on accident again this morning. Fantastic. Haven't learned yet. Haven't learned. Soon though, almost. All right, so starting to cover a little bit here on NTEC as it's coming down more towards that 620 price. All right, so all out of NTEC there, netted a gain of 2,800. Yeah, okay. Chris also hit the scanner. That's trading kind of funky, kind of awkward. All right. The stock CNET, it looks like it's holding up okay. Does kind of look like it might want to turn into a long move. Or is that going to roll right back down? All right, adding long CNET, long 3,000. Gonna see if we can do a long press here. If not, I'll be taking that off. And if it squeezes up, I'd be looking for it to get up towards the 335 mark. Good move so far. Got a little pullback. It all depends. Can this pullback hold up, get bought? If not, we'll pull back down, but hopefully this pullback holds. Add a little more on the size. Again, would love to see the move up to 335, but it's kind of struggling. So I took off 2,000 shares just to deleverage in case it does do one of those wicked snap downs. So deleverage just to 700. I'll hold the 700. Unless obviously it snaps down, I'll take it off, which it's kind of coming right back down. All right, deleveraged again, just to 200 shares. Had a kind of big harsh selling on that candle I didn't like. XBIO is still managing to hold up right now. All right, so closed out on CNET there. Didn't like that pullback. XBIO, on the other hand, is holding up pretty good. So I might go over and look at XBIO. So added 1,000 long XBIO, added 2,000. I'm up to 1,600 shares long. Momentum looks pretty good here so far. We're fighting the pre-market high here. So far, we're not able to break it. So we're still fighting pre-market high levels. And so far, XBIO not able to break out of that pre-market high. Added a little bit more there. Still got sellers coming in on this candle. We got about 10 seconds left on it. All right, nice push. That's good. Love to see a target of $5.54 would be awesome. Taking some profit down to 800 shares long only now. This I'm going to try to hold for the longer push. CNET also kind of came back. Looks like it's trying to push into a long move again. So we're over the pre-market high on XBIO so far. The buying volume has came in pretty good here, so we should hold. Think it's going to move higher. There it goes. Nice squeeze. First target again is the 555 mark on the upside, or at least close to over under. But anywhere towards the 555 would be awesome. Would be a beautiful move. Sold another 200 shares out of the 800, knocking it down to 653 shares long now. We'll hold the 653, trying to get it up to 555. So there's our pullback. It would be great to see this pullback holding over this trend here. You can actually, at both screens, if you look at both screens right now, I mean, maybe if you're trading, don't, but you can see we pulled back, have this half deviation mark here. So we want to see price of these candles staying above 490 and this one here at $5. So as long as the candles are closing above 490 and $5 in the immediate, that's a good sign that we can move higher. There goes a price higher. All right, XBIO, very nice. Good job, bud. Again, price target is now up to 562. Very good, bud. That's 530. Still got to go another 32 cents. XBIO is hitting the high a day scanner on trade ideas. So everybody in the world is getting alerted of trade ideas, or sorry, XBIO through trade ideas, and everybody on YouTube that watches our stream is getting alerted of XBIO. So they're probably buying. So this is where we could, build the assumption that a portion of the market is just now finding out about XBIO, and we're hoping that they are the ones that kind of squeeze the price up for us, to that 568 price now. So there's a pullback. Again, right now, it would be good if the candles stay closing above, let me adjust these because they're a little different now. But we have our deviation mark here. So it's good if the candles stay closing above 497 to, excuse me, 484. So above 484, 497, candles closing above that in the immediate would be good to consider that the move is going to sustain and continue pushing higher. But I'm really not going to look for a whole lot more through 568 without there being some sort of pullback there. If we go through, well, it's actually 575 now, but if we go through 575 just immediately, I'd be very surprised. So I think at most we'd look for a move to 575, sell majority, and then anticipate we have a pullback coming. CNET also is still grinding up. It's actually working out really well after we took it off, but all good. Got a high of 544 there. It doesn't look like a ton of people. There we go. Okay. So closing on XBIO. We didn't quite get to the 574 mark, and it might still go there. I just don't like how that candle pushed up and then got sold into really hard. So pretty much all out of it, but I could still see it going up to that price target. I just won't, I won't be a part of it, which is fine. So great move there with XBIO. Nice. So there's the hold there. So that's good. I guess I didn't fully listen to myself because we could have stayed, closing above, but has some heavy selling there. Either way, whatever. We're good. That's a good trade. All right. Something else at the scanner here. I want to take a peek at it. It's YALA. I don't have anything to do with that. Never mind. NTEC, what'd you end up doing? You ended up dropping on a little bit more, but I already got most of that short, at least for the time being. So I don't really care about that. All right. Oh, no. Did Chris do another offering and I'm not even a part of it? Wait, did they do another offering? At 575? Shoot. Adding some short on Chris for sure. Just an offering in 1,900 shares short with Chris. couldn't really get the fill that I wanted to, so I kind of had to go by 100 shares on the downside, downside, downside. So again, they didn't, let's see. If they did another offering, shares rise 25% after public offering. Yeah. Well, maybe no, it's not another offering, is it? At 931, at 575. So they did do another offering. Yeah, this price is holding up so far. It's pretty impressive. So still short, 1,900 shares on Chris. Going to look to see if we can fade this dropout. I would like to see prices of, say, like 682. That would be great. So Chris holding the double bottom move. So yeah, that's kind of what it's supposed to do. It's kind of supposed to sit holding the double bottom. Dang, just got squeezed up about 500 bucks already. That kind of sucks. Are you going to be an easy trader or a complicated trader today? So far, you are moving a little complicated. I mean, so far, I'm not a big fan of the way this Chris move is moving so far. This is an important candle that we're on right now, this one, whether or not we can kind of go red and start reclaiming back into that downward move, or if traders are going to just hold this thing up. Yeah, so I'm taking that off. It's just not working the way I want. So I'll just take the L. So took that off. So gave back another 300 bucks. Yeah, I mean, that kind of sucks. So yeah, currently up $3,295 on the day. I think I was closer to 3,800 before I took that $300 loss with Chris. I really thought when you guys said offering, it was just going to tank. So I'm like, why not take the risk, put it on? But all good. Yeah, I mean, maybe that goes now or whatever, but it doesn't even really look like a whole lot of people are even selling that move still. So part of me kind of felt that it was just going to end up, squeezing back up a bit. So. Ooh. Yeah, if you look at my screen, you look at this selling pressure from XBIO. I mean, it's just so heavy. Look at that. I mean, red relative volume spike. It's just something about that makes me feel a little bit sketchy, just a tad bit. Trying to go along on that, it's definitely sketchy. It's like licking a doorknob right now with COVID-19 on loose. You might be able to get away with it, but you're probably going to get smoked. So just don't go licking doorknobs today. Wait till next year. Wait till we have a vaccine, and then you can lick as many doorknobs as you want because we have a vaccine. The only thing that makes me kind of think it's going to break long is so far then again, this is let me think. This is a pull back to the upside, but there's not a lot of buying. Yeah, no, we're not going to long that. It's just not even worth it for right now. You still have development in the pennant. So this would be the situation where all right, if you think about it, right? Pennant, you see a pennant, right? So most of the retail market sees this. That's what they're seeing. They're doing a pennant like this. In reality, trend is down here. So theoretically, that's where the trend's at. but most of the retail market's going like this. This is a pennant. When it gets towards the end of the pennant, we're going to try to break it long, or that's where the resolution is going to be, and we're going to break out, or it's going to break down right there. All right. So, and if you think about the way we were looking at it, right, we were looking at this like, okay, we want to be long from down here to, at the time, that yellow line and sell. So we're picking we want to be long, and then that was the point we want to sell. Once we get to there, we're going to see selling pressure. That's the selling pressure that's going to make the pennant happen. So, you know, it's debatable whether or not we want to trade this pennant. Now, if the pennant does break to the upside, which is still possible, if the pennant breaks to the upside, we might target somewhere up to 636 now. So still watching it. The only thing that made me the most nervous was this selling candle at 537. So if you actually look, this pennant will not break out unless you get over the trend on the right side of the screen. You see that trend there at the very high? So you have to go through that. That's your resistance right now, which is pretty much the previous high. Okay, so you have your candle break. Traders are long. And unless you actually break the candle out of 535, you're not going to see it pop. It's just going to do this, and then it will roll back down. But so far, that looks strong, like it's going to break out. So maybe we do add, never mind, it's kind of pushing, but maybe we will add to this. Let's see how this candle kind of fights here for a second. So far, instantly sold back down as we kind of peeked over that trend for a second. AMD, if it goes up to 94.08, yes. Take a short, start to wiggle in, small size around there. Ooh, look at XBIO. So all those traders just bought long for that flag break, or even bought at the high thinking it would break as they were purchasing right on that trending resistance, and now they're dumping out, right? So that's the risk with the pennant, right? You always have that risk with the pennant. Versus if we could pick point A to point B, right? If we could successfully pick point A to point B, trade from point A to point B, sell, and then let everybody else decide what they want to do with the pennant, then, you know, you're not sitting through as much confusion. All right. I don't know what I'm looking at right now. Actually, I'm not really looking at anything. How's good old NTEC? She has not broken down yet, and she hasn't broken up. But why would you break up? Nobody wants you to go up. I mean, I guess maybe some people do. I mean, you went through your first short squeeze and you came right back down. Right now, the market on this NTEC is really just trying to get it below the price of 617. So far, they have failed. There's not a lot of selling pressure here on this low. If you look at the volume system, it does appear, well, now that I scroll it up, there is some selling in there. There is definitely some selling, but it doesn't look like a ton of selling, which makes me think you're still susceptible to seeing a squeeze. And if Neo's still getting smoked, yeah, it's, well, kind of. Like I said, I just couldn't muster up a good long level to go off of. We could have just waited until the volume system started to switch green. But I just didn't really see it being worth it trying to go long on this. All right, sorry about that. So yeah, I'm still was debating whether I want to do with this. I want to do with this NTEC. Part of me feels like it's gonna fall back down into a short move. I should have been shorting that top though. Honestly, I did that poorly. So not even gonna try to hit that move. It'll probably drop. Well, it's 656 on a 616. That would be a pretty solid down drop. And I'll just have to hold on that for now. I'm gonna just kind of do some surfing around, seeing what's going on now. XBIO, sure enough, that rolled over and down. GLSI, I don't understand that enough, and the risk is pretty elevated, so it makes it hard for me to want to trade that. But I could see that having like a big move. I'm just not willing to take that risk on. Chris to me is just going to stay chopping and be more confusing than anything. And that's, again, that's primarily why I took that short off early. I could just feel that it was just going to be a pain. And so I'm just not even interested in trying to do anything with that stock for the time being. Would I buy Zoom now? I would not myself. I still think you can see it down to 380. Ooh, this market's trying to hold that NTEC move up. Yes, sir. I'm trying to do the old pennant, flagger, Magoo, cup and handle breakout. Yet not successful. QS hit a high of almost 88. And that was one of my long-term resistance targets for resistance. Obviously, I just said that. Yeah, this NTEC move, it looks like a pretty well-defined sort of setup. Really, it has resistance right now at, the resistance is right at 720. So even if you broke out the high of 712, you would theoretically still run right into a possible trending resistance. Still got some sellers coming in there on it. QS just dropped all the way down to the regression trend. You could probably see a little bounce on that. I'm not going to trade it because I'm mainly just focusing over here on NTEC. Yeah, Neo's still going lower. Like I said, I got nothing there that I understand well enough to try and do any sort of long bias trading on. All right, adding some short on NTEC now in 500 shares short. My average is 665. I don't think it's quite ready to break down, so that's why I added 500 shares. And if it does break down right away, then I'll make some money on the 500 shares. All right, there goes the breakdown a little bit. I'm gonna cover some into that low, so just covered majority of it. Got 100 shares still short. I don't think that was the full breakdown, so I still think it's susceptible to rolling over and dropping more. I would like to get more shares in short, but I figure we would bounce before we break down again. So I could cover on that candle, take in some money, wait for another green kind of candle move to go up, and then reshort that, looking for another drop down. That was kind of quick. I did that a little late. I really should have been shorting up at 706, but I did kind of feel a little hesitant. So we'll be sitting at 3,350 green on the day. Boom, there's a drop I was looking for. All right, cover my last 100 shares. Would have been nice to have more size on that drop, but again, it is what it is. But that was a support trend I figured we would go to. Now, if you snap below that, that's going to be another big drop. But I really would only anticipate if it breaks down below that trend, you're going to fall to the price of 597 here. Oh, wow. That's getting halted. Dang, really wish I would have had more short now. What about Workhorse? I'll take a look. I'm assuming Workhorse is going down today if NEO is going down. No, it's going up. That's impressive. Okay. Well, Workhorse, I would say right now is trying to go towards a target. Well, it's already hit the 9 moving average on the daily chart. So really it's trying to go to a target of maybe 23.38. So most of the long moves really already happened. You're over 3 deviations on the day. So you're in a selling location. To me, it doesn't really make sense to be extremely long bias on that move given where it's at. And you're kind of a little bit late if you wanted to be short because the move started at the 9 moving average of 22.76 short bias. So I could see it retrace maybe a little lower down towards 22.37. But yeah, I mean, you probably get away shorting Workhorse there for a move to 22.37. I'm just not going to do it myself because I don't like it that much. That's why.